and commissioners, our city mayor and councilman, bless us with wisdom, goodness, and truth. May law and order, justice, and peace prevail, defend our liberties, preserve our unity, protect our county, to the honor of thy holy name. Amen. Hey, the first item is approval of the February 18th, 2025 Rules and Legislative Committee minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Let me
opposed?
mention one thing.
Okay.
I corrected the commission. I wasn't a chance to do it here, but it's corrected on that vote
Okay.
on number 9 where I voted no instead of yes, but I'd already done it at the commission, but I was just going
Okay.
to clarify it here too.
Okay, that'll be
And I think
fine.
it's been corrected, but
Okay, no, you can bring it up
just
and
want
make it.
to make it clear.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Any other comments? We did vote on it, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The next item is consideration of placing the March 11th, 2025 commission minutes on the April 8th, 2025 county commission agenda.
Make a motion that we place those on the agenda without a recommendation.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The next item is consideration of placing the notary applicants on the April 8th, 2025 county commission agenda as requested by County Clerk Donna Thomas.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Mr. Chairman? we
Yes, ma'am.
skipped public comment.
Okay. We did go over public comment. Yes, is anybody, I'm sorry, we went from 1 to 2 without public comment. Does anyone here wish to be recognized in public comment? County Mayor, anybody say anything to you about it? Okay, anybody else? Okay,
This is not a public comment, but I did have today a couple of gentlemen from EDP Renewables to come and meet with me. They're going to be visiting our area. They're trying to do some solar panels and just asked me if I would introduce them at the meeting. And I believe Jack Denny, if you'll stand up, is here. Yeah, he just didn't want anybody to shoot him when he came up to talk to you, so I'm just let everybody know who he is.
okay, anybody have any questions? Any other comments? Okay, being none, we'll go back to the agenda. The next item is the Veterans Report. Okay. We've got, in February, there were 51 veterans that came by the office for visits, and 44 veterans were transported to the VA hospitals. And evidently, Mr. Ely's sick, so he's not here. Is there any other discussion or comments? A motion to approve.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the next two items are for our information only. The February community clinic, the medical report, I think there were 58 patients seen. And in February with the dental report, they were 89 patients seen. Is there any questions or comments concerning the community clinic monthly report?
Just glad
Okay.
they're here.
Okay. Okay, the next one's Ag Center report, Commissioner Anderson.
Nothing much different, but Heidi at Finance reached out to me about the county insurance. There was a number of buildings and structures that either weren't there, have never been there, or they're someone else's. So I waited till the Ag Board meeting to go over every one of the structures that are there for insurance. And there was like 4 of them. And 2 of them, none of us never heard of before. So maybe make our insurance a little cheaper, but these were like outbuildings and things like that that aren't even there. So we took those off the insurance thing. So that was kind of the big thing we did at the meeting, because I wanted David Mulder and some of the older guys that have been on, I've been on there since 2012. Mulder's been there forever. And I said, David, do you know anything about these things? And he didn't either. So I don't know why they were there, but I'm glad Heidi in the finance office looked at it and got us to look at it because we were paying insurance on things that weren't ours or weren't even there. So that was the big thing. It was like, a couple of them were like little outbuildings or mini barns that weren't there.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, it was great because I had never seen it before. And, you know, there was one outbuilding, I think someone else's that was removed several years ago. We had them remove it. She did a great job of that. And then when I met with the board, we all decided, well, these 4 things aren't here, so we took them off. So that was the gist of the big meeting this last time. The archery club, that's just something that they're getting ready to kind of, they're just starting it up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, anything we can do for kids, we always do for, you know, especially 4-H and that type stuff. And actually, I'll bring up something else about this too. And Greg, you brought Van Air to talk to us about the bees. Oh, the grant came through for that. So we've got everything set up to put the plants in the ground at the very back of the place back there. And
About a year ago.
yeah, but Van said it just came through. So we met with Helen, so we're going to have all that put in.
Good.
And somewhere down the road, we may have field trips from schools and stuff once it gets going, that they can see the different plants and insects. It could be quite interesting. No, it's like pollinators. That's all it's pollinators.
Natural grasses and pollination. And we put one at the school, got a grant at the school. And then we went ahead, I went to the ag board and asked them, do you guys want to do this? And they said, absolutely. So we're going to be able to have natural grasses, pollinators out there, some walkways, so we can do field trips with the ag center. Anything to increase traffic out there and interact with the school system was the purpose of it.
That's just a,
Okay, any other questions about the Ag Center? Okay, then we'll go on to, the next item is a budget committee discussion. We got a letter from County Mayor, County Attorney, and we'll go over it. It's addressed to me, and he talked to me yesterday as well about it, so we'll read through it, and then we'll go from there. It says, Chair Farrar, pursuant to the request of the Rules and Legislative Committee from its last meeting, I provide this opinion regarding the establishment of the Bedford County Budget Committee. The Commission has adopted the financial management system of 81, which statute creates 521-104A Financial Management Committee, and it's Tennessee Code Annotated 5-21104 to designate the composition of the committee. There's 3 members of that committee are designated by the statute, being the county mayor, highway department supervisor, and the superintendent of schools. The other 4 members are selected by the county body, which has been done. Provides that that's Tennessee Code 5-21105, that the legislative body may authorize the committee to assume the functions of the following special committees, or the county legislative body may by resolution create a budget committee. The commission, by adopting the by-law rules of the Board of Commissioners of Bedford County, Tennessee, designated the Financial Management Committee by by-law rule 4, Section A, 4 standing committees, and subsection 4 to assume the function set forth in Tennessee Code Annotated 5-21-105, specifically including the budget items of a primary financial request. In addition, by adopting the same bylaw as Section I, Special Committees, the last sentence provides no special committee shall be appointed for any purpose when there's a standing committee on the same subject. And that seems to be the main point and could be debated, and that's what we'll do in a moment when I finish reading the letter. Therefore, it's my opinion at this point, the county commission is taking the appropriate steps to authorize the financial management committee to assume all the financial subtopics contained in section A, Tennessee Code Annotated 5-21-105. Clearly, this designation can be revoked by amending the provisions of the bylaw rules pursuant of bylaw rule 1, section as 2/3 majority, by eliminating the last sentence in the bylaw rule 6, rule 6, section A, subsection 4, and the last sentence of rule 6, section 1, and any other relevant provisions of the bylaws related to this subject. Another, I bet, indirect way of addressing the same issue would be the selection process of the Financial Management Committee at the appropriate time and method. Now, the other one has the letters, another request that Commissioner Anderson has, and he's not going to worry about it tonight. So it's open. I guess everyone got the bylaws. So I guess the main thing is it, in addition to adopting the last sentence provides no special committee shall be appointed for any purpose when there's a standing committee on the same subject. Of course, this subcommittee is within that committee, so I don't know if it's replacing it. It's in addition to. Now, it's going to be some duties shared, but I don't know. I think we need to get some other insight. And I did talk to Melissa Kelton, CTAS. She didn't know much about it, but I did ask her to check on it legally as well, and she said she would. And then I've known there's been 20 or 25 counties that have the 81 Act. I looked up that, and there's several of them here have it, but there's no need of going over that now. But I do know, at least I was told that there are a few of those, there's some of those 25 that do have this budget committee under special committees in there. Now, I might take note that I said, that one sentence, I don't know that we're replacing that. I think it's in addition to. We're not doing away with the other committee. We're not doing anything other than we're sharing the budgeting process. So, I mean, it's a valid question, though, and we need to get some other legal opinions. And I asked Melissa Kelton to do it. They got legal people down there as well. So I said, I think there's going to be some debate, discussion about whether you can have two committees. And I said, well, I look at it as being an addition to that committee, not supplanting it or not replacing it. So I don't know. When we can still discuss and debate it, and we can go and we do whatever the committee wants to do. But it's here, and the rest of us need to discuss and debate it as well. So the floor is open. I've read it, and Commissioner Vick.
So help refresh our memory a little bit. Why is it you want to change this committee? What is your reasoning behind why you want to change it?
Well, I said we had three commissioners that were elected 2.5 years ago that wanted to be on the budget and finance. Well, they couldn't. There wasn't enough room there. And I thought with this, we're not replacing anything. The other committee, that Financial Management Act, and that committee is still in place. All those members are still there. Now, this other committee is just going to work on the budget. We pulled two of the more experienced people, which was Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Yockey, out of it. Now, they might or might not have any intentions of doing it. Okay, that'll be fine. And we can replace it with someone with accounting or a CPA or anybody we want to. That's fine. So, but I did think that you needed to have maybe two experienced people on that 5-member committee.
Why do you want to change the structure of the committee?
I'm not changing the structure of it. The 7 members are.
Well, I got that part. Tell me the duties you're trying to assume that the
But
financial.
they're going to help with the budget.
What the purpose is to help with the budget.
I read all that, and it's in the minutes, but you want me to go back and read the minutes again? It says the county legislative body may authorize a committee to assume the functions of any or all of the special committees, and the county legislative body may, by resolution, create a budget committee, an investment committee, or purchase committee. That's in addition to the 81, a 7-member committee.
That's TCA code you read.
Yes, it is. It's
105.
5-21-105. That's what I read last
Yep.
time.
Yep.
And you've had, I mean, everybody's got it. It's in that.
I got it right here.
I got it. Now, except upon the special committees, there's 5 members appointed by the county legislative body. The members of such committee need not be members of the county legislative body. The director, finance director, is ex officio member and secretary. That's right out of that Tennessee Code annotated. This budget committee shall establish and approve policies, forms, documents, procedures, and regulations necessary for the preparation of the annual budget. It's in addition to what the others do. And it involves 3 more members of this board, which wanted to serve on the financial committee to begin with. Commissioner Boutwell and Commissioner Thompson and Commissioner Neal. And it's involving more commissioners, and I think they have a right. They wanted to be in there, and I don't know why they can't have 2 maybe people overseeing the budget process. The original committee plus these 5 that will mesh, and all of that would have to be worked out. It's not passed, and anything's not done, and whether it's legal or not, I don't know. That's to be determined yet. But that's my idea. You got 3 commissioners that were elected 3 years ago that wanted to serve on it. They didn't get to serve on it, and now through a subcommittee, a budget committee, special committee, by law, they have a right to be involved in that. And I don't see one thing wrong with it. Now, the finance committee's taking exception to it, and that's fine.
Well,
They do what they want to.
if you don't mind,
Yes,
let's
absolutely.
go back a little bit. So the statute created the 1981 Act. There are 25 counties under the 81 Act. I have a copy of those counties right here that are under the 81 Act. Until 2006, this county operated with the very same thing you're talking about, a budget committee. And I think you were on the commission, and you may have voted for it in 2006 December. I know Commissioner Thomas and Commissioner Yockey was on there. The reason that the commission voted to go under the 81 Act was because their bond rating was in the toilet. There was a department head had been embezzling funds over $100,000. He went to jail. The schools were falling down. Portables were being put up. Property values were plummeting. The comptroller said, "You've got to do something to change."
Well, it's
what
been
you're doing."
wonderful. I don't have any. This is not a mark on them. And there's been more embezzlement than that. There were 2 more situations that it was, and that's cleared up.
And since 2006, just look at the difference we've had with the finance committee
No,
and the finance
I
director.
agree with you
Our
100%.
bond ratings at an all-time high. New
That's
schools
right.
getting built. Employment turnover is low. Best practices, national standards. Our finance committee director is got a national award. The comptroller's got all the awards, and it's just odd to me that you want to change this. Oh yeah, and our Moody's rating is now AA3. That's the highest it has ever been in the history of Bedford County. So when we look at that as to why you want to change, which is why I ask you to get more people involved, we have a finance committee meeting and there's only 3 or 4 show up. And like Robert says, the budget starts July 1 for this next year. So, I mean, the opportunity there is available. Now, under the statute, I've looked at it here, and it creates it in 521-105. Then we go through here, and I'm sorry, let me back up. Under our bylaws, we just spent 9 months going through these bylaws. We updated them so we were being compliant, and we hadn't been doing that, but we did it this year. We spent taxpayer money on legal matters to make sure we were in compliance. The commission voted to approve them. And at no time, at any point, did we ever hear a discussion about a budget committee coming up until now, 60 days later. Now we want to change the committee makeup.
I'm not changing the committee makeup. I'm forming a separate special committee.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not changing anything.
there are four
Commissioner
standing
Beck.
committees.
That's
The
right.
Finance Management Committee duties, and this is Section A of our bylaws, Rule number 6. Items which may be considered those relative to any financial matter concerning the budget are a primary financial request. Section I, no special committee shall be appointed for any purpose when there is a standing committee on the same subject. Bylaw Rule 7, commission-appointed subcommittees. Commission may select subcommittees to make studies and/or recommendations to the full commission through the standing committee on any specific matter which falls in their authority. So it takes 2/3 votes to make the change that you're asking to do. So if you are prepared to go back and get a 2/3 vote to rewrite the bylaws, that's where this is headed, legal decision or not, this is kind of where it's headed. So, I appreciate getting more people involved. I think we all should be more involved with it, but this is the process I think you're going to have to go through before we go much further, is you got to decide.
Commissioner Anderson.
Question I've got too. It's called CTAS. What did Charlie Curtis think of this? This would be another person I would want to look at.
Well,
this
that's
thing.
another one. Now, he didn't,
what Charlie
he says it's perfectly legal,
Okay.
but now he doesn't, he has not got involved
Right.
with reading our, rules and bylaws.
But that might be
But-
something Charlie ought to look at, right? I mean, I know the set eyes and go.
Well, no, it'll have to be looked by, I've already told you, I've
Right.
already talked to Melissa Kelton, and they're gonna look at it
Okay.
as well, and then we certainly will let Charlie.
Well, that's the process you got
Curtis
to go
look at it.
through.
Well,
Whether it's
absolutely.
legal or not doesn't matter. This is the
Right.
process to change this because this is what our bylaws say.
Okay, Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, I do agree that Charlie should look at it and let us know. I mean, he knows more about county government than any of us probably in this room. And I think from what I understood is that the reason it even came up was that Charlie Curtis in a conversation to you said, why would you not have it? So that was the reason it just recently came up. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it as far as changing the bylaws. Apparently you would have to take 2 sentences out. I don't know how that should not take but a minute. But, to me, if you've got extra eyes looking at anything to do with finances or the budget, that's always good unless there's something that you don't want somebody else to be looking at. But to me, it's always good if you have extra people. I mean, I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, Commissioner.
Just a couple questions and maybe just a recommendation, because when this kind of came up, I started reaching out to other counties that are under the 81 Act, and a significant number of them do have a budget committee. It's separate. And when you reach out to them and talk to them, the reason that they created a budget committee was simply because county mayor, the highway department superintendent, as well as the superintendent of schools, is mandated by the TCA code to be on the finance committee. Well, they separate that out to avoid conflicts of interest and concerns from the constituents. And so with that may be a big reason why that I think Charlie Curtis probably led you down this road to say, hey, those 3 individuals are really probably in a situation and they're putting themselves in conflict voting for their specific department budget. So because of that, I think that is probably the first thing. The second piece is looking at this from a whole. Unfortunately, I've dove too much into TCA code the last week and learning that this is a legal process. This is allowed. This is something that is allowed under the 81 Act. And so because of that, if you look through 105 all the way up to 113 in section 5 of chapter 21, it's completely laid out that this is a process that's allowed. The budget hearings, the budget amendment process, all that is allowed. Now, the question comes down to is in our bylaws, does that supersede what we can do under the TCA code? That's the question. It's not whether this is legal or not, because if you can read the TCA code and break that down, it is 100% legal because a majority of the counties that have the 81 Act do this. And so we need to really truly look at this instead of kind of really kind of breaking it down to legal or not. Because to me, it clearly lays it out in TCA. Now, the question is with our bylaws. Now, the second piece is I do want to address, why is there only 3 at the Finance Committee? Because it's at 4:15 in the day.
Oh, yeah,
Some
I
of us
forgot
have
about
to
that.
work.
I work till 5.
Yeah, and so the thing is that's fine if you have the ability to be there, but we have asked multiple times in courthouse and property to readjust that time frame for it to be in a situation where people who work can be there, specifically our constituents. So that's why 3 people are there. So if you're concerned with the amount of people that come, I'd probably recommend to that committee we look at a different time.
What counties did you? that have
Dyer
those
County I
things?
spoke to specifically just because I have a relationship with them. But I would kind of dive in. I don't know the exact number of counties that do it. I just know it's a
So which one you
significant
talking- I was
number.
just asking
Yeah,
which one you
Dyer
talking-
County was specifically the one I spoke to the most.
A couple of things. I'd like to remind Commissioner Epperson and Commissioner Anderson, I stuck my neck out a year or so ago, 2 years ago, I don't know, and we got the time changed on finance to 5 o'clock because of the fussing. And nobody else came other than the regular people who came.
2 meetings. And it changed back.
Right.
2
But
meetings.
2 meetings. And did you come to either one of them?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
2 though. I mean, you could have gave us at least a month. I mean, maybe I was
Well,
sick. Maybe I had to work over.
And I'm not going to speak for the mayor and Robert on this, but the employees that come to the finance meeting have worked all day long. And then the second little dig
I
I'll
did
just
today.
I'll
Straight
just
from
dig
work.
in is you knew what the meetings were when you ran for the office. I had to take off when I was commissioner if I wanted to come to them. Changing into the second mode. Commissioner Fair, what is it that the Financial Management Act is, other than putting 2 or 3 more people in the process of it, that we don't put out there? We have a study session. I've watched within that study session questions. If you didn't get the right answer, you just keep asking or prod or whatever. But the entire commission is involved in it. We do have that study session. And if there's something you don't like, something you don't understand, something that that you feel passionate about, that you want to add, the mayor's office is open all the time. Go talk to him. Robert will answer any questions best he can on a spur of the moment. He may have to look something up. But other than the people that are being added, what is the wrong? What are we doing wrong right now in your mind?
Well, last May, you passed a resolution with the Liberty School, and it had 4 or 5 other issues in there that were not put in standing committee, was not discussed and debated, and that's where the sort of initiative of this started. And some other matters of just coming up for the simple fact that finances, they think it's money, then they'll just bring it up, and it won't go to the standing committees, which in my mind, there's been more than this. I'm bringing others up, but I didn't come here to air out dirty laundry, and I'm not going to necessarily, but I can. I can list probably 3 or 4 other issues this last year, but I'll just use with a big one because I didn't like any of that. There was one issue that was passed that never did go to law enforcement. The firing range, I don't think was ever in your committee. Was it, Commissioner Thomas? Right. But did it ever come through your committee? Okay, well, that's all I'm saying. And there were some others. There was something about the rules that I thought that always come through us. It had to do with the letter grant. Okay, and then I was told, well, letter grant generates money. It doesn't generate. It gives us money. It's always come through that. Well, it was placed on there directly. It had never been done before that way. Is that a big issue? No. But then you had 2 or 3 on courthouse and property that didn't go back. Mainly juvenile detention center was not discussed and debated in open transparency. That's some of the problems I got. It's just railroading things through straight from finance to the commission without going through the proper standing committees. And that's where all this started. It started from that resolution I just got. Because I asked I called Charlie Curtis in a week or 2 after that. I said, what about, I'll send you a copy of that. And that's what I've given everyone. He sent me that summer. And it just sort of, I ain't got anything against anybody on that committee or anybody else. I just don't think that at times there's enough questions asked and enough scrutiny placed on Robert Daniel. Now, if you want to air out some dirty laundry here, I'm going to mention his department having 10 or 12 members. Now, that should have been scrutinized by the finance committee and told no. And it goes right through without one question asked. And a lot of other things. I read the minutes every time. I don't go, but I read the minutes religiously, sometimes 2 or 3 times. I don't see anything else discussed. We got somebody that keeps very good minutes. We didn't have before, but we do now. So there you go. I talked to 2 or 3 others. They got 3 or 4 or 5 employees. We've got 10 and added 2 last year. We've got 12. Most of those financial directors, or many of them, make $80,000 to $90,000. Ours makes $130,000 to $140,000. I mean, we're out of kilter with just that one thing, and you know, I sort of think that y'all are responsible for that. You need to keep that in tow. You're the financial committee, and I don't know that you're keeping Robert in tow. Seems like Robert's doing what he wants to with his personnel and his office. And I understand he needs this, and I understand that, but I don't know. And I think, you know, we had a consultant come in and from the audit committee came in and he said, eventually, you know, we might go to private acts anyhow with the more technology and everything else. And we might be able to do away with that and save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. He was the one that said it, the audit guy, and he praised the 81 Act like everybody else. I do too, Commissioner Vick. I agree with 100% of what you said. Outside a few things that I think should have been scrutinized and questions asked and the standing committees used. That's where I stand. And I don't think anybody else wants to comment.
Full house in here tonight. So, you know, my opinion is this is a common sense move, Commissioner Vick. We have other commissioners that we all get paid the same. So it's almost as if these commissioners are saying, you know what? I'll go the extra mile. I'll put in the overtime. Everybody's going to get paid the same. Just to add an extra set of eyes, not necessarily from a standpoint of catching something wrongdoing, but, you know, things can sometimes slip through the cracks. So what's the harm in having some very highly qualified commissioners to serve on this committee? I also have, matter of fact, before this topic even arose, I had a conversation with Charlie Curtis myself back last year. He mentioned it. So I know that he's going to be for it, and I'm looking forward for him to speak to it. But to me, this is just a common sense move. I mean, you have a group of folks that are saying, you know what, I'll serve the extra time. I'll put in the extra effort. Let's do it. Now, also on the other end of that, if we have a finance committee or whoever is handling the finances and everything is buttoned up tight, as you mentioned, and all these awards are there, congratulations to those folks. But if I were running that ship, I would say, come on in, you know, have a look for yourself. It's all in the spirit of transparency. So in my eyes, we're bickering back and forth over something that seems like a common sense move. And I believe, I'll say this publicly, here we go. If anybody stands against this, I would question your reasons. So, appreciate the time.
You okay? Anyone else want to ask the question, discussion? There be none. Well, I guess what's the committee want to do? It had to come from us, and we can do whatever we get the votes to do. It's up to y'all. Certainly is going to have some more legal opinions.
I mean, I know Charlie's in legislature right now.
He is. I called him again and asked him to come down and even do a video. He says, I'll be driving. I can't do I asked him to, and he couldn't. He's at the state legislature. He's very, very busy. I said, can you get on a conference call? And he said, no, I'm driving. I'll be driving home. And he couldn't do it. But he said he'll come down as soon as the legislature, you know, gets through, and he'll be glad to discuss and talk to anybody about it.
Yeah, I have also talked to him, and I know he's very adamant that you can do it. There's no problem doing it, that he doesn't know why we hadn't done it. So, I guess he just needs to come in person and tell people that.
Well, the question for here and our county attorneys says we can't have, that this committee can't replace the other, but I don't look at it that way. We're not replacing the other committee. It's just in addition to. So I don't know. We'll have to get some legal. As I said, I've talked to Melissa Kelton. They're going to do some legal stuff, and we'll see what they say. And then we know what John T's ruling is, and that's fine. That's one person. And then we'll I'll talk to Charlie Curtis again and see what he says, and I'll read the rules local rules, and
I think he'll have to be here to say it himself, because they're not going to believe.
I believe it. The question is, they say we can't do it, and they believe Charlie Curtis. They know it's legal. It's just like Chris Hooker said. There's nothing illegal about this, or I wouldn't have brought it up. But there's some question as to whether we can do it or not because of our local rules. So, I don't know. There might be a little gray matter in there about it replacing it. It's not replacing what's there. It's in addition to. Commissioner Davis.
Is there 8 on the finance? Am I correct? How many's on the finance committee?
7.
7. So we're talking 4 more.
No. This
No.
is
No. Here's what I'm saying. The proposal. If you want to do this, why would you just not add 3 or 4 of those people to the finance and expense? That's what I'm asking. Okay. Okay.
It's not. That's not Tennessee Code Annotated.
Okay.
Yes,
Any other questions? Any discussion? What's the committee want to do?
We need to defer it until we get more information.
Maybe defer it 30 days.
Second.
Okay.
Next meeting.
And second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
You're going to talk about Commissioner Anderson. I know you've got that.
I just now got it, so we're going to talk about it later,
Okay, you're not going
because I didn't get it 15 minutes ago.
Well, we need to talk a little bit about it. 'Cause
Sure.
we've got it.
Absolutely.
So-
That's what y'all want to do.
Well, I ain't even read it.
Oh, we had time to read it. I was going to wait, let y'all read it. We'll talk about it next month.
It's not on the
So we have a
agenda.
resolution prohibiting residential decentralized wastewater systems, sometimes referred to as STEP systems. So we're going to talk about this for the next 30 days. and then
Right,
next
let you
month
read it,
we'll
let everybody
discuss
read it, look at it, and then we'll have a discussion about it next month.
But basically, give us an idea of what it is we're doing here.
Well, we're trying to figure out a way, because after we had the study session where they said approximately half of them failed, for places in the county, it looks like this gives you an opportunity to put houses maybe where houses shouldn't be. But my main thing is it's 1 acre and it's got a perk. Where did we get away from the perk aspect of it? I understand we're sticking to the 1 acre, but if you use these things, it no longer has to perk. That's what I want everybody to think about, and we can discuss it and come back next month on it.
So really what you're saying is septic tanks only, no step system.
Well, yes, what it needs to perk. There's a reason for perking. It's not just a septic tank. It could be a water standing somewhere. That's why you don't want to put something somewhere. You don't want to put it in a ravine on a farm and put a house there and have water all over the place.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and as we seen just this last weekend, I mean, there's a lot of houses built in water
Right.
standing in them right now.
But what you say is it's prohibited. You're saying that you can't build any of them here.
Until TDEC or somebody comes up with another better way to implement sufficient standards for proper installation, operation, blah, blah. It's all in here. We can discuss it next month.
What about our schools?
What about them?
They're not residential.
They're not residential. And there's not
So
a
we can
multitude
do
of
it.
houses on there.
We can do it here, but somebody else can't do it.
Well, if it's already done, it's already done.
On
What about our
commercial,
new school we've got out there at Liberty? It's going to have to be expanded.
it's not residential. This says
And
residential.
necessarily, I'm sure there's property out there that perks as well.
It's also not commercial.
I think you
Commercial
could have
will
put,
be
if you
responsible
wanted to,
for
you
their
could have
own.
put a septic tank at Cascade School, but we didn't, but you could have, you had plenty of land.
So that piece of property out on Longview where they just got the permit
Right.
from the state, would we grandfather that or?
Yeah, I guess it would have to be if it's already in. But because the state gives you a standard, doesn't mean you have to allow it either. So that's what I'm saying. Now, the state, once you think you're going to meet their standard, it doesn't say you have to do it. But again, we got 30 days to talk about it. We'll talk about it next month. I just got my hands on this
Okay.
literally before I walked in here.
Well, I hope that the plumbers and the electricians and the building supply people and the realtors and everybody who makes a living in the construction business reads this and hears about it.
Sure.
Because this is going to be
Absolutely.
a real,
And we can sure
Problem
we
for
can
them.
sure get the plumbers to come talk about it because they sure don't know how to work on them. And that's part of the problem here too. Every plumber I know doesn't know how to work on them. But hey, we got 30 days. We'll study it. We'll talk about it. We'll look at it and look into it.
Okay.
But none of us had time to look at it,
I
including me.
agree, I agree.
Okay, we got one more item here under new business. Highway Superintendent Mark Clanton sent us a road list update that we need to get on the county agenda. It says, number one, Frank Martin Road from Midland Road to city limits changed from 0.96 miles to 0.37 miles. It says, per state law, along with the uniform highway law, it is permissible to bring periodic changes to the approved road list to the committee level to be passed on the legislative body, which we're going to do for approval once the completed road list. Never change approved. It's already been approved, but this is changed. So we're
Motion to approve.
okay. Is there a second? Okay. Get a second, then we'll open it up. Is there a second? Okay,
Second.
go ahead. Now we're ready for discussion. No, we're not approving anything. We never approve anything.
I've been here long enough to know this is a recommendation committee. We're all recommendation committees, and it takes 18 commissioners to pass anything.
We're voting to place it on the legislative. Yeah, that's what I
Right.
said.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said. I don't know what she said. Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Excuse
All
me, the
opposed?
motion is to place it on the agenda.
Yes, absolutely.
We want Linda to be happy.
That's what I said.
To order. We've called to order. We're fixing to have prayer. Commissioner Boyett's going to lead us in prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for everything that you do for us, dear Lord. We ask that you bless this meeting tonight. Please help us to do it in accordance with your will. Please help us to always make decisions that's best for the county. We ask that you bless each and every member here and each and every person here tonight, dear Lord, that's in attendance. Please keep us safe and protect us, and thank you for all the blessings that you've given us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. All members are present. Next will be the approval of the agenda.
Motion approved.
Second. Motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor? Aye. Next will be the minute approval from February 18th of this committee.
Make that motion.
Got a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next will be our public comment period on for the Public Safety Committee, if anyone wishes to speak. I don't know of any. Don't see any hands raised. So next, we'll move on to our animal control report.
I don't have too much to add. I would like to thank the IT department. They've been working with us. I think we probably got on their nerves a little bit. We have a lot of Hispanic and Latino that come in to adopt. So IT and my admin yesterday worked for quite some time changing some of our forms so that we can print in English and Spanish, and that seemed to help a lot. And there's a couple other things we're working on at my facility, changing some of my computers and stuff around and changing rooms. So they've been a huge help with that. So I just wanted to thank them. But as far as my report, I don't have anything to add this month.
You all have a copy of the report. Is any questions?
Are your reports okay? Do they have all the numbers?
Yeah, it looks complete.
So I was printing one yesterday, and something happened, and I'm like, okay, but as long as you guys have the numbers, you have the same numbers I do, okay.
How's Bear?
Y'all know that, city, but apparently he's well taken care of. Someone was going to try to catch him. I don't know that you will ever tame Bear. He's been around since I've been around, which is over 10 years.
I love it.
And they have dog houses and everything set up to my understanding.
Yeah.
He knows exactly where to go for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and everything else.
I love it. I recently started following the Bear story a few months ago.
Oh, okay.
And, I'm rooting for Bear.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm rooting for Bear.
He's a local
Yeah.
celebrity.
he's got to be like, I don't know, 14, 15, 20 years old. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's been there ever since
He
I've
was
been
at a
here.
Sitco station this morning or something.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm rooting for Bear. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Okay, next will be the Sheriff's Department report.
Okay, well, this will be what February brought to us. Drove 68,680 miles. I think the thing that stands out to me the most, maybe for February, was 909 warrants were served in Bedford County, 202 arrests. Drug task force, there were 17 reports of investigations in the 17th district. Of those, 27 defendants were identified or arrested or indicted. There was 2 firearms, 1 vehicle, seized, pretty much the same on the drugs, marijuana, methamphetamine, controlled prescription medication. They investigated 11 previously convicted felons, and so pretty much a lot of times the same ones getting out and starting over. In the judicial system down there, or the courtrooms, there were, in the month of February, 4,083 people that were scanned or searched by Bedford County officers in the court security. The deputies maintained security for 36 court sessions, a total of 1,206 individual court cases in the month of February. Deputies served 14 criminal and civil warrants, and they took 15 people into custody for warrants on court-related charges. Deputies also transported 93 inmates from court to holding courtroom.
We had another MRT man's graduation
We did.
Saturday night.
We did.
You want to comment on that, please?
And it went real well. I don't think we've had as many of the men's as we've had women's, but they're not trailing too far
7
behind.
women's graduation, 6 men. But there was 1 man that had 16 graduates. Numbers about the same.
Yeah, and I think there was actually 1 or 2 that were already out of jail, but
came
came back
back. Correct.
for the graduation. That was this. Well, the females was 2
not to
Saturdays.
jail, to graduate.
2 Saturdays ago, and the males were this past Saturday.
Yes.
And so I guess it'll be a little while before we have another one, but it's going real well. They started a new beekeeping class for the male prisoners, the ones that are going to participate today. So we got that going this week too. Our training room is a busy place. We use
It's
it.
not big enough.
I know we're real proud of it, but it's
Yeah, but
amazing.
it's
I
not
don't
big
reckon anything you build's ever big enough, but it stays busy.
It does.
Sheriff, I've been privy to some of the letters, the newsletters that have been written. Mr. Benson shared some, Chief Deputy shared some, and I just want to say it is a testimony to the good that's coming out of the MRT program, Lieutenant Cook. When you read some of the testimonies within the newsletters, that you can see the heart of the person, the individual.
Yeah.
You read. And it's very inspiring to see that there's some positive changes occurring in those individuals' lives as they are incarcerated. So I commend you all for the work you're doing.
Yeah, we've really been blessed and fortunate with that. I keep thinking, sooner or later we'll probably have a snag, but that happens in everything. And so far, it's just been great. It really has. And some of them
Yes.
can get pretty, particularly with the females, I guess, even more so. It can almost be tear jerkers sometimes.
Yes.
But yes, Lieutenant Cook, that's his passion. Of course, we have Lieutenant Gentry. And
Right.
he runs the jail.
I'd like to comment on the newspaper. It's really interesting to hear the minds and their thoughts, their poems, their stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I was most impressed with the artwork of some of our inmates. Fabulous. In my opinion, being an art lover, fantastic work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's some that you are never probably going to get to, but
Correct.
it's a win-win every time you have one, and much less a group that gets through that and carries it on with them. And if they go out and get a job and become a productive citizen, how much that saves us as a county in more ways than just money, by them being a good
Right.
parent and other things. It's definitely
It's
worthwhile. But as I say, we still have a jail to run to, and that's where Lieutenant Gentry.
It's an honor when I walk in to go to class and they'll stop me, Miss Sylvia, thank you for the
Yeah.
classes, to study, to read. We have been able, through some of our opioid grant, provide glasses for those in need.
Mm-hmm.
So when that comes, that makes like we're doing something good for them. And also, it's just very rewarding what we're doing out there.
And this year, I think they start the tree farm, and
The
they
tree,
will get
yes.
that going and donate it to parks and different things. So.
Also, White Oaks is very important in the whiskey world.
Well, that's true. That's true. Okay. Got Lieutenant Gentry.
Yes.
Going over the hard numbers for the correctional division, we served 26,977 meals in February, totaling up to 41,771.76, and that comes up to about $1.50 per meal. Again, the prices on that have went up with the economy, and we're hoping it's going to start coming down for us. On some of our business accounts, the telephone and tablet commission was at 11,810.57. The business order 45590 for the sheriff was $4,154.98. Our work program went over, total inmates went to work for a total of 760 hours. Total crews are 10. We're figuring at $15 per that, estimated saving the county up to $11,400 for the month of February. And we took in $17,000 in cash bonds.
Okay. Any questions for the sheriff's department's report? Hearing none, next will be EMA report.
A couple of things I'm going to cover. We've had recently we had a state health drill with Vanderbilt Hospital that went well. They did a good job. They were not looking forward to it, but got high approval from the state hospital folks. They moved in reality, not technically, but about 82, or how many patients was it? So that's coordinate with our state regional group and other hospitals, how that's going to work, where that's going, how they're going to move those. So that went well. Also, we had our school drill last Friday. I don't know. I think all the days will run together. It went well. We had an after action today. Talked about what went well with that and things that we need to work on. We plan more meetings on that. We're having a working group put together that's going to get together and come up with training that we need. So we're looking at that in the future too. We'd like to have more drills down the pike also. I will say that our radio, I'll talk about that a little bit. So we've got about 80 radios in, handheld radios right now. We logged them, that's about a week ago. We've logged those into inventory and waiting for some more. Waiting on NashCom is who we're doing our programming and installs and things like that. They're putting together a schedule for mobiles. So that should be coming out soon. And what that is having the sheriff's department, EMS, fire department, set those vehicles up and where we're going to do that, where it's going to be all the logistics behind that. And they're still doing some work on Hawthorne Hill, some civil work that they're trying to finish up. So just want to give that a little update too. That's all I have. Oh, one other thing. I'm sorry. The weather we had Saturday, we had another big crowd for our storm shelters. We had about 120 something people that came out. That's a big. We've had as much as 170. We had six or seven shelters open, so that's a plus. And we were, unfortunately, we had the weather, but pleased that people come out. So.
Any questions for EMA? Hearing none, we'll move on to juvenile detention report. And it's in our packet right here. Probation. And then,
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there.
Yeah. Nick
probation.
I actually don't have anything to add other than we broke another record down here at the drive-through last Friday. We had 160 report through. So it just continues to grow. I mean, we started out about 30 and now we're up to, our highest number, which is 160. So it's been very nice having that down there and for our people to report there. So I appreciate y'all giving that to us.
And so a lot of those people are people that could have violated their probation, but now they're not because
That's correct. We've had several tell us that if that wasn't available, they know they'd be back in jail and doing 30 days in lieu or something like that. It's typically what happens. So
And that in itself saves us money.
correct.
Thank you. Any questions for probation? Hearing none, the next will be the approval of all the reports that were presented. Need a motion?
Motion approved.
Got a motion? Have a second? Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. Other reports, any old business to come before the committee? Hearing none, new business?
Chairman, I have something. if I
Yes,
may.
Commissioner Matt?
First of all, I appreciate, Director Kitchens, I appreciate your report on the radios. I do want to take a moment just to talk about the radios. I know that communication is one of the biggest tools that first responders, law enforcement have in their tool belt. I believe that if you are unable to communicate with your fellow first responders, law enforcement, it puts you in a bad place. Unfortunately, for several months, there's been some folks that have reached out, even from our county, other agencies that have voiced their concerns about our current radio system. If you're on social media, you can see there's a couple of social media posts in regards to a lack of radio communication. Specifically, in this case, it was the fire department in Warchuk. So we all also could probably say that response times are extremely important. That's one of the most important things as it pertains to the job that y'all do, first responders. Unfortunately, there have been cases where folks have had to pick up their cell phone to call the comm center because the current radio system wasn't working. There was a situation I heard of last Friday where a first responder had to use a landline in order to communicate with the comm center because their cell phone was didn't have service. So, I mean, if we can just kind of break it down, and again, this is not directed at Director Kitchens at all. Matter of fact, I'll transparently say that I briefly spoke to him before this meeting and said that I was going to bring this up. But if we look at the history of these radios, it was a very fortunate situation where the county received an ARP funds, I believe, to the tune of about $5.2 million. This was the previous commission. The commission then made the motion and it was unanimous to send the resolution through. This was during the 425 Finance Committee. The motion was made to send it to the commission. During the May 10th, 2022 commission meeting, resolution number 22-22, supporting these radios went through, and I believe the entire commission voted to receive this grant. And then if you continue to go forward, on May 16th, 2023, in the committee notes, it states BCEMA continues to work with Motorola on the TACN communications radio system and related projects associated with this task. Fleet mapping meetings were conducted for all agencies involved. In October of 23, committee note says EMA continues to work with Motorola on the TACN communications radio system and related projects associated with this task. In November of 24, Commissioner, Mr. Chairman Thomas, asked for an update on the radio system. Director Kitchen said that all the agencies have met on the TACN system and decided on what frequency they want to operate and how they want the channels to be laid out. Portable radios to be passed out for a test. Then the agencies will move to mobiles. Everyone's excited about the new radios. 12/17/2024. Notes for this committee from the emergency management says EMA continues to work with Motorola on this TACN. All right, so my concern at this point is that somebody somewhere needs to pick up the ball and either call Motorola, get Motorola to do their job. I'm not sure where the buck needs to stop, but it needs to stop with somebody. And so I have tried behind the scenes to diplomatically find out what's going on. I, as commissioner, did not direct the steps of any county employees. However, on this committee, I think our job is to do a whole lot more than to find out what the inmates are eating. We need to make sure that our first responders are taken care of and that they have one of the number one tools in their arsenal and they can communicate. So quite frankly, at this point, I'm pretty frustrated. And so I want to go on the record that we need a more firm update. I expect a more firm update, and I expect this process to step into completion pretty quickly. You know, just from an electronic standpoint, the radios that we have, when are they going to be obsolete? When are those warranties going to be out? Why are we not upgrading the current system? Why not just even patch it? Listen, the first responders, if we have a situation where we lose a life or something bad happens because a radio system is not working, let me tell you something. This guy's going to be the first guy to hit the roof. Just telling you, point blank. So, and I hope that many others would join me in that. You know, these folks, they're working hard. And, you know, we talk about we need to get this thing done. We need to get our priorities straight. So I don't know who to direct this to, but I do want to go on the record here that I would like a more firm update, Director Kitchens, from you, although I'm not putting all this responsibility on your shoulders, whether from the mayor's office or whatever. And I appreciate the more robust update earlier, and I understand why that probably happened. But at this point, I'll finish again and redundantly say, our county deserves better. So if we're going to be better, let's get these radios up and running, or get some sort of communication system up and running where folks are not having to use landlines like they did in Mayberry. You know, a little frustrated. I'll yield back my time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm happy to comment on that as well. Mr. Max, I'm not aware that you contacted my office or asked me anything about it. I was aware, though. You did contact my office and ask me?
No, I have not.
Oh, no, I didn't
I'm
think
listening to
you.
what you're
Yeah,
saying.
okay, I got you. So, but I was aware that you were looking around and talking to other people about it, but I thought it was interesting that you never came to the mayor regarding that, which I don't think you have about lots of things, and that's okay too. But it's a little bit interesting that there could have been a lot more information shared with you besides grandstanding and meetings if you just come to the source. It's never be a violation of, and the state ratified this, for you to violate sunshine to talk to your county mayor. Now, it is thought to be a violation of sunshine when you guys congregate after meetings out there on the lawn. As you know, that two or more is say no more in violation of sunshine, but you guys quite often like to throw around the word transparency.
Sure.
And so I'm happy to discuss it with you. I'm happy to tell you what we know about it now. Our team has been involved with this from the beginning. Probably you don't know this, but actually the state director for communication was at my house just a couple of weeks ago as we were talking about this issue to figure out what's going on, because the mayor's office and our individuals are not the problem in the chain. Obviously, we all come from public safety, including myself, before you were around and before I was in this role. And so we know the importance of communication. In fact, whenever I got elected, we had an end-of-life system that couldn't even get parts for it. And it was not on the agenda really for a solution for it. So I appreciate your passion now regarding it. But we've been involved and engaged the whole time. We've had Motorola people back here in the last, 3-4 months. How long ago with the lady came in and acknowledged that they had got miswired, crosswired, dropped the ball. People changed in their system as well. Now, I'm happy to hear what magic bullet you think we can do that will then have the radio system live tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I would like to hear those solutions along with pointing out all the things that you don't think are right about it.
No, I appreciate that, Mayor. And honestly, I'm glad you spoke up because, quite frankly, I think the buck does stop with you.
I agree with
You're
that.
the mayor, right?
You better
So,
believe
you
it,
know,
brother.
and so honestly, you as the mayor, you talk about grandstanding. not to go too far in the weeds, but if you would do more other than just campaign since the day you took office, maybe we'd be in a better shape. So let's just say that I would suggest that you would get on the horn with Motorola, find out exactly what's going on, because I'm going to tell you something. If something were to happen with anybody or anybody's life based on this radio situation,
You feel like
I would
it's my
think that would fall on
responsibility?
it would.
Oh,
yeah, and I would be quite frankly, and again, I would be a little bit embarrassed if we're 2.5, 3 years into this and you still don't have radios and you had a $5.2 million grant.
And again, what would you do today to make
I
it
would,
happen
I would be a
tomorrow?
leader, is what I would be.
Oh, well, we're glad to
exactly.
hear
And
that.
I would be more than
Let me
happy
interject.
to do that. Yeah.
Let me just tell you, kind of give y'all some update on where we have been on the radio system. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. I think November, December, we were handed radios to do some testing out in the county. Prior to that, I think the sheriff's department did some testing, and we found it to be somewhat operational, but not what it should be. And that was due to the fact that Hawthorne Hill was not online yet. And Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't have that. That's not part of that's in the state's hands, getting that tower up and functional. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we are basically had to upgrade Hawthorne Hill from ground up. So they had to redo all the electrical. Another thing that we did, knowing that we were doing this, is the building that was up there was not in the best shape. We actually acquired a cell tower building, which cost us nothing, which was 10 times better than what we had. So the new equipment's actually going into the new building, and so switching those out was one thing. Generator work is having to be done. Pad is being done. A little bit bigger generator to make sure if something happens, if the power goes out, that tower will stay online. Some every site was touched with some type of maintenance, putting electrical in, generators, things like that. And that's one of the things that takes a long time. Another thing that we found was we were coming right out of COVID. So just like Nissan and the chip issue, Motorola couldn't get radios and equipment and micro tower or antennas to do. So that took a little time too, but that's correct. We've had to do some work at several of our sites.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mr. Kitchens. Again, we're almost 3 years into this, so wherever the buck needs to stop, it needs to stop with somebody to get it done. Now, if I were in a full-time role, I would think that it would probably it wouldn't take 3 years. So again, I'm coming to you on behalf of first responders. This is not a grandstanding situation. I'm telling you what I'm hearing. And I have politely, behind the scenes, tried to work out, you know what, Mr. Mayor, good call out. I should have called your office. But unfortunately, your track record's not conducive to getting things done sometimes.
All right.
So we'll go ahead and move forward. Thank you.
Any announcements need to be made? Motion to adjourn?
Courthouse and Property Committee to order. Commissioner Thomas is going to open us in prayer.
Let's pray. Dear Lord God, thank you for this day, the blessings you have given us, Lord. I pray that we will not take the blessings you have given us for granted. Thank you for letting us gather here, Lord. I pray, Lord, that all of our actions will bring glory to you no matter what, Lord. And I pray we'll put our faith in you and nothing else. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All righty. Roll call. We do have all 5 members present. We do have a quorum. All right. Got a minutes approval for February 18th, 2025 Courthouse and Property Committee.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion and second. Any changes or any comments? All right. Hearing none. All in favor? All right. We also have approval of the study session minutes and notes.
Second.
Motion and second. Any changes or any comments? All right. All in favor? Aye. All right, public comments. Anybody? All right, seeing none, moving on. All right, going into our reports, code report.
Hello.
Hello.
Believe you all got my report at your meeting last week. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Yeah. All righty. Any questions? No. All right.
Thank
you. All right. Planning and zoning report. You do have that in your packet. I don't see Chris. All right. Thank you. All right. Any questions on that report? All right. Very good. IT report. Again.
Go swap the mic out right fast. So, if you'll look on the report that I gave you, you'll see that a lot of these projects. I try to give you guys a monthly to the minute update where we're at on these projects. The lighting project for the courthouse, just to really quick, we've got a scheduled installation for the heavy lights that are going to go on top, and they're going to be affixed to the roof up there, so they'll be shining on the top part, the clock area. They're really heavy and they're 17 inches in diameter, so it's pretty big. So they've got to have a special lift to get those up there. But the rest of them have been installed. Once they mount those and they secure those to the building, then we're going to follow with testing the system to make sure it powers on properly. And then we'll have a programmer down here to program that out and do the training right thereafter. So it's coming to a close, which is exciting, and I can't wait to see the end result. I know you can't either, so we're excited about that. EMA, we just finished with security and access control installation at the EMA building, and what that does is that gives us the ability to use access control cards as we try to deploy that system across the county. We're trying to go with one kind of a unified security and electronics vendor. We're using the same one that the school uses. So we can piggyback that contract, which makes it nice and smooth. One point of contact for everybody, just works really well.
So with you using the school vendor, if we'll just say public safety went to respond to a call at a school, would they have that ability to utilize their card on that same system?
So no, well, they're separated, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's by design. It's the same software, but same vendor, same software. The capabilities there, and if that need were a need later on down the road, they would have to discuss that, because the only thing we would be controlling is the civic buildings that we use. But yeah, that would be, and hopefully we'll be able to deploy the same system across to it's at the Justice Center now. We've got it at the EMA. We'd like to put something similar at other buildings as well. So as we slowly move throughout the county with this, and later if they decide to do that with SRO programs, however they integrate with the Department of Education, not my wheelhouse, but I'm sure Miss Christy Williams would be glad to talk on that, and so would the super as well. So, but it is a great software company with tried and trusted, and they've been in business for a long time, and they've been the vendor of the school system for a long time, and their systems work really well. If you've ever been buzzed in from the outside of Thomas Magnet before, or Aiken Elementary. We had an inspection of the jail systems, the electronics and the door lock mechanisms and the intercom systems.
as they reached about 5 years now, they're coming up on 5 years on that building. Doesn't seem like it. Seems like it was yesterday, but at the Justice Center, one of the things that we've run into, as you would expect, are aging equipment. And what I've heard Mr. Chief Deputy Elliott say before is that the jail ages at a rate of 3 times the normal building because of the use that's taking place there. And so as that takes place, we're looking at preventative maintenance, maintenance agreements. What kind of thing can we do to get the longevity out of the equipment that we purchased? It's a high-tech facility still to this day, but as in all electronics, do come to an end of life. So we want to make sure that we're prepared for that. We had the company that installed the system to come and do a top-down review of the items inside the jail. That includes the locking mechanism, PLC programs, which control the logic controllers that control the water and the electricity for the jail, the lighting, and also the intercom systems that they use to buzz people in and out of doors. So, and the camera system. So quite a bit there that touches. And we just want to make sure we have something in place so that we can maximize the life of that and make sure that we have somebody to contact if there's an emergency. And what I mean by emergency is whenever doors don't open or the intercom's not working and you've got someone locked behind a door, specifically a corrections officer that can't get out. So we want to look at those items for safety reasons, life safety reasons for the inmates as well. So in doing so, we brought these guys in. We got a proposal from them for a security and maintenance agreement, and what that includes is quite a bit of stuff. And it includes everything from the locking mechanisms to and checking and testing and repairing any broken replacement of those. Now, what it does not include is the hardware itself. So if we had an item that would fail, that would be something we would have to replace. But as far as the system is concerned, I did get an extra, I did print off some extra copies of that proposal for each one of you. So I'm going to bring that over to you. And if you do have any questions, you can always give me a call. I'm wide open. Call me anytime. I'll be glad to go over with you and talk to you about what some of these acronyms are on here because they don't spell them out every time. But it does speak to the maintenance of the corrections facility that we have. As we look at building the juvenile facility, we're also looking at using the same vendors. That way we keep the same warranty programs, the same maintenance schedules. We're looking at trying to standardize a lot of areas with technology. And that will help us to maintain a leaner staff and get longer life out of our equipment. So that's about all I have to say about my report, unless you guys have any questions.
Anybody got any questions? All right, thank you.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you. Alrighty, fire department. Mr. Chairman, as usual, I don't have anything to add to my report unless you have some questions.
All right. We got to see your new fire truck a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we brought that up to the commission. We don't have it in service yet. We still got some technical things to work out and equipment to mount, and it'll take a while to get all that done. But I will go ahead and just kind of give you a update over the storms that we had from Friday night until Sunday morning. We answered a total of 17 calls, which was really shocking to me, given the magnitude of that storm that came across the Wheel area and up through Unionville. Only 4, and I had all this wrote down, and I don't know where it ended up, but anyway,
it's one of those.
There was 4 water rescues that were actually done, and some of those drove around the signs that we had on flooded roads. I know John, it looked like a lake. The only way you could determine where the road was is look at the mailboxes. And after the first fire truck and stuff went down there, it was just a muddy lake, and you couldn't really tell where you were going. And that night I had to pull over at pit stop. It was raining so hard you could not even see Highway 64. A lot of trees down, power lines down, a lot of damage, but my knowledge, there was not a loss of life. It was just property, you know, a lot of property damage. But I was really impressed that we only had 17 calls during that storm. So, very fortunate.
All right. Any other questions for Mark? No. All right. Thank you, Chief Thomas.
Thank you.
All right. You have the E911 report enclosed. Any questions on that? All right. Media GIS. You should have a report. And, all right. County building projects. Okay. Do you have anything to add on that? No, I did reach out to Dr. Garrett just because I did see where it had Liberty High School and walk through that process. That was kind of a typo. She stated that it's really the master plan for the Liberty School area. There's no plan right now for any of that. And basically what she stated is she's doing master plans at Cascade, Community, and at the Liberty School area to make sure as they add projects, they're thinking down the road. They're not putting a soccer field where they may need a softball field down the road or vice versa. So she just wanted to reiterate that the master plan is something they're doing at all the locations and that was a typo in that particular thing. So, all right. Any questions on county building project?
I do want to mention, Community Middle School, Mr. Sweeney's not here today, but they have started on the concession stand and they lack 2 light poles, I think, replacing LEDs at the baseball field. I think they did most of those. So we're on the schedule and getting through it.
At Cascade High School, they're doing the same thing with concessions. It's moving along pretty good. It's a nice building, and I think it's going to bring a very nice addition there. So, all right, any other questions on county buildings? All right, motion to approve the reports.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, no other reports. Under old business, we have the morgue. I think we have Captain Brian Bruce here. Yes, sir. Thank you.
What you've already received from somebody else.
Thank you, sir.
I was asked by Commissioner Thomas to come and dispel some rumors that were out there floating around more in social media land, I think, than anywhere, but I do want to address those.
Absolutely.
Just some points of interest. First, I just wanted to say, this morgue, something needed, but it's not. I want to make sure everybody does know that this is not an EMS morgue. We are just taking on assistance to help facilitate getting it where it needs to be. Okay. Bedford County is not, or EMS is not in the morgue business. Bedford County government's in the morgue business. That's not us. Okay. We're just helping because we are one of the chief users of that facility. So unfortunately people die. I mean, that's, we're guaranteed that. So, I did bring some stuff to you, simply just some pictures that I wanted to share with you of the current facility we're using and why that it is so imperative that we start moving on with this project because it's not an adequate facility. And if you have any questions about any of those questions, I'll be glad to answer them for you. But since October 1st, we have transported 26 bodies. That's when we took over after Vanderbilt excused us from their facility. We have transported 26 bodies to the Bedford County morgue. Now, that is not talking the ones that we sent to funeral homes direct, those kind of things, but those are ones that we transported to our morgue facility that we're currently using. There was a rumor out there that maybe we should look at why so more people are dying and the overdose rate and those kind of things. Well, so I did a little research for you, just to let you know that we, out of those 26 that went to that morgue, 15.38% were suspected overdose. Okay. But also through the cooperation with law enforcement, some nonprofit organizations, the mayor's office, and those kind of things. Since 2020, our overdose rate on opioid overdoses is down 30%. Okay? It's through a lot of people working to make sure that epidemic is stifled, and it has been. So we're down 30%. We had some comments made that people saying that the morgue facility, we don't need a morgue facility. We can use Murfreesboro's. We can send people out of county. Rutherford County, I promise you, is in no way interested in taking care of our out of hospital deaths. Okay. It's not their responsibility and they have no interest in that. all bodies that are in a pre-hospital setting that dies are required to go to a after-death provider, such as a funeral home, for either cremation or burial. We are just simply trying to facilitate them getting there. Sometimes that's not possible immediately, either through no next of kin, whether it's with the family just hadn't made a decision yet, or maybe there's going to be a autopsy that needs to be performed. Those bodies have to be housed. So that's why we are doing what we're doing and what we're working toward. I did, another thing that kind of came up, I was presented, wanted to know, well, why are you building this facility, or what makes you think that some of the things that we've added in this facility are needed? I can promise you it's a no frills plan. It's simply, and if you'll look on it, I did incorporate, and I think maybe the mayor's office sent you some plans also, but I incorporated some in the back. There's a body storage area. There is a bathroom that is imperative. You'll see what we're using currently as a bathroom facility in your packet. That, we're dealing with biohazards and those kind of things. We need to be able to clean up. There is a clerical area that will second be used if we need a body identification with a family or those kind of things. But we are not putting a meeting room in, anything that. We are simply just putting a room in for a clerical area for the medical examiner to be able to do his work and prepare those bodies for transport. And if we needed to use that same area, we will have it for the family to come in. And I'm glad to answer anything else. If you have any questions about any of that.
Any questions? The only question I had from this might be more directed toward Chad. Do we have firm quotes and estimates on these at this point, or where are we at in that process?
I don't think anything's firm, particularly with tariffs floating around at the moment. 1 minute they're on, 1 minute they're off, one it's a part of what we do or not. I don't know, but the other night or the last time Finance Committee met, they added, that's why the number moved. I don't remember exactly what the number, but it seemed like it went to 250. Maybe it was at 240 and went to 260. I can't remember. But anyway, they added contingency, just hoping that if there's any kind of small wobble, but it ought to be pretty close because it doesn't have a whole lot of electrical and all that. That's really some of the things that was knocking some of the other projects in the head. So they ought to be fairly close on the number. I haven't seen or heard anything that said otherwise yet. Okay, in regards to that. Thank you. Then I think it was wasn't it 240, 230?
I think it's 250 to 10,000.
Yeah, maybe.
I was at finance
Okay, yeah,
that
yeah.
night. So in the first numbers we got here were 200 to 225. When we went to finance, it's 225 to 250 with a 10,000 contingency. So what was moved forward to the commission was 260,000.
And I think that was the concern the other night, was just the fact that it's quickly doing that. And then on top of that, we didn't get all this last time. We got hey, this is a notification, we're wanting to do this, and we didn't get all this. And so, again, I thank you, Brian, to come and talk to us because I think it's important. I think this is something that we need to move forward on, and I think that we just needed to get a good grip that we were where we needed to be before we start rushing everything to the commission. So I'll entertain a motion to make a recommendation on this to the commission.
Motion to make a favorable recommendation.
All right, motion for favorable and second. Any comments? All right. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Any other new business? All right, any announcements? Motion to adjourn.